Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to start some fall cleanup. Yes, it is October, it's officially fall. We're willing the fall weather to come to North Carolina, but the garden is also saying that it is fall and it is time to do some cleanup. Great thing about fall, in my opinion, here, especially in the South, is it's at a nice slow pace. There's not the hurry and hustle and bustle of the spring. You're trying to get things in before the heat hits. Fall, you can just take your time. You can get it done when time allows. So today is a beautiful cloudy day, a little cooler. So Miss Brenna and I are going to spend some time here in the privacy berm that separates the house from the nursery. We're going to be working on kind of both sides today, but down closer to the creek side. I am not going to try to do the whole thing today. We're going to take our time and enjoy the process. As I was saying about fall, we can slow down and just get it done when it gets done. So what we're going to do is I am going to show you how you can begin preparing your garden for the fall as well. So we're going to be trimming back some perennials. I'm going to talk about what shrubs can we touch, what shrubs do we not want to touch, and just a general time together here in the garden. As always, my kind of philosophy is if it's happening in my garden, odds are it's also happening in your garden or someone else's garden. And so we can all learn from each other and just have some kind of tips and tricks. Of course, we will share the messes and the successes of the privacy berm. There are some changes that have to come to the berm just because it is getting older, getting a little bit up in age. And when I say up in age, I'm talking about like 4 years old here. And so some of these shrubs and the perennials are loving life. Some of them maybe not so much. Some need to come out. Some need to come out because they're thriving too much and they've got to give room to somebody else. You know, all the things that us gardeners deal with. So let's just talk about where we are and what we're going to do. We're going to, like I said, going to be down here on the lower end of the berm. Kind of here in the middle, we have the thundercloud purple plum is in the middle with the pugster pinker butterfly bushes, and then we have some of the little lime punch hydrangeas. We're going to start down here, right beyond the little lime punches, because I don't want to touch them. They're beautiful. They have some nice color for North Carolina. And so these are good. We're leaving them alone. What we're going to be focusing on is right beyond and then all the way down on this side. So like I said, I have got some perennials that need some love and attention, that need to be kind of cleaned up. I am sure that we will find weeds in here. I've got Agastache, I've got Amsonia, all sorts of things. You can just see, it's just kind of it just doesn't look very attractive now, does it? So we're going to work on this. We've got Holy Grail hibiscus. We'll talk about what we do and do not do to those. It's a smoke bush, those kinds of things. We've got some Artemisia down here. And then let's just talk about the great success of North Pole arborvitaes. Oh my goodness. So the North Poles, we are really technically on the border of being able to grow the North Poles, and they're doing fantastic, my friends. They are rapidly growing and doing beautiful. When I say we literally have done nothing to these guys except in the beginning we would throw down some fertilizer like in the early spring. They are on drip irrigation that runs once in a blue moon, honestly, and they are doing great. Beautiful, nice hedge. And then what we're going to do is come around here, and because again, I have got some plants that are super happy and we need to take care of those. I've got some camellias. I've got all sorts of things going on right here. So we are going to spend some time in here just giving you tips and tricks on how you can begin maintaining your garden for the fall so that it sets you up for success come the springtime. So what we're going to do is we are going to start on the other side. Now, in the fall, your perennials, for the vast majority of perennials, they are herbaceous, meaning they're going to die completely to the ground. So when you have that first frost freeze, all the foliage on the top is going to get burned, right, and die back. And so the vast majority of your perennials come back from brand new growth in the springtime. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of help them along a little bit, because we're going to clean up and take care of some business because they're just looking rough. Now, I do need to come in here. We're not going to do this today. That's just too much for me to do today. But we do need to come in and thin some of these perennials out. They've gotten really big and are beautiful in the spring, in the early summer. Some of these guys are just getting a little bit too happy, and they are, which is a good thing, right? It's a great thing. That's what we want. So come probably in early spring, that is when I will go ahead and dig up and move some of these perennials. You can do it now, absolutely. Fall is a great time to divide and move perennials, but also so is early spring. And so just because where I'm going to move them will be on the other side of the privacy berm, on the house side, and I'm just not ready to put them in there yet, because we're going to put some shrubs in there. So I will probably wait until late winter, early spring to move these guys, which is totally fine. You absolutely can do that. Either one will work great. It just depends on your schedule and what season of life that you are in. So what we're going to do is, I have Amsonia. So there are Amsonias in here. This is the string theory. So we've got that. We've got some Agastache, which was the queen nectarine, and then more Amsonia. Y'all, I'm just going to come in here and literally shear them to the ground. That is all we're going to do, is we're going to take all the foliage completely off, which there's not much foliage because it's looking a little rough here in October, which is totally fine. The root system, great and healthy. The foliage, she's tired. She had a long, hot summer. She's done. So we're just going to come in here, clean it up. I think there's also some Baptisia in the back. So probably while I am here, I'm going to go ahead and cut them to the ground as well. My grasses, so I have Niagara Falls grass. I am not going to touch my Niagara Falls because it will give me beautiful structure throughout the entire winter. So we're going to leave Niagara Falls alone, not touch it. And there's also a daylily back here. We're going to leave the daylily alone as well. Once we clean this up, it's going to open up so much more and the area is going to breathe. So let's get started. Another thing that I love about fall gardening is that 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a lot easier, right? It's a lot easier to prune the perennials than it is to plant the perennials. All right, so let me show you what I did. It's not hard, but I want to walk you through what I am thinking as far as moving plants and why we're going to do that. So literally cut the Amsonia to the ground, and you can see there's nothing special, there's nothing fancy. Just cut it as low as you can go, and all will be well. So with the Amsonia, this is, like I said, this is string theory. Now, if your string theory, your Amsonia has got really pretty foliage on it, still nice and green, leave it alone, because Amsonia will turn a beautiful, like bright golden yellow, oranges, depends on the variety, in the fall. My native Amsonia hubrichtii is gorgeous. I am not touching it because it will turn those beautiful golden colors once the temperatures cool down. For whatever reason, string theory doesn't hold on to its foliage for me in North Carolina. Maybe it's my garden. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I don't know. But if your Amsonia is still green and lush, leave it alone because you're going to get a beautiful fall display. So that's my disclaimer. Now, what we're going to do come either later on this fall or early spring, I have got, I don't know if you can see, but there's an Amsonia back there, clearly not in a good spot. Even these two guys could get moved and get pulled forward. I've got one under here. That daylily has gotten really happy, so that Amsonia could get pulled forward as well. Same thing with this guy, it could be pulled forward. So your options are, oh, yep, wait a minute, there's even another one, y'all. Right back there. No bueno. That is not good. So definitely move those. I did have some of the Agastache right here, and you could see when I went to go, I figured it was, when I went to go pull or see if it was still attached, it was not. So obviously we had gotten too much water or whatever had happened, and it was dead because it just literally pulled out of the ground and there was no roots or anything. So now I have this nice big empty space here right in the front. So as these perennials are growing, as my Holy Grail is growing, as my Little Lime Punch, my Sweet Talker Viburnum, hello gorgeous, as these are all growing and getting happy, so what we can do is either move the existing perennials forward, maybe I move my daylilies forward. You know, your possibilities are endless here. And you can also dig up those Amsonias because there's going to be too many in here now that they are nice and big, and I can move them to the other side. So when we plant those shrubs and those things that we're going to landscape the house side of the berm, I can take some of these perennials, take them over there, and then it ties in both sides. So that just kind of gives you an idea of my brain and what it says. Okay, well, this perennial definitely needs to be moved no matter what, right? And then in the back, behind the Niagara Falls, was the Baptisia. So literally, again, just cut it straight to the ground. I had some weeds in there, so we had to get rid of the weeds, but I'm just cutting it down to the ground. You might be able to see the little nubs right there. Now, you may say, well, that Baptisia is in the exact wrong spot because we couldn't even see that you had Baptisia back there. All right, my sweet friends. Baptisia, when does Baptisia bloom? Early spring. When do the Holy Grails and the Summerific hibiscus begin to emerge? Late spring, early summer. When do your perennial grasses really get going? That's right, late spring, early summer. So these guys are going to be like Holy Grail, you won't even be able to see it because it's going to, once the freeze comes, it'll be cut down to the ground. So you won't even pretend it's not even there. The grasses will be just maybe little nubs with a little bit of green coming through. So my Baptisia will be kind of the highlight, and then for the rest of the season, it's just green foliage, but then the Holy Grail kicks in, the grasses kick in, and hide the Baptisia. So that works. So I'm not going to move the Baptisia, they are fine. And then last but not least, what I did over here was I had some Artemisia in front of my Winecraft Gold, and y'all, I've tried it for a couple of years, and again, that's one of those plants that it's just not thriving in my garden. It's surviving, but it certainly is not thriving. And I'm of the concept of the thinking of if it's not bringing you joy and it's not, you know, doing great and you really like it, just get rid of it. Life's too short. It's your garden. Go ahead and get rid of it. So I went ahead and pulled it out. Now, it leaves me some options. If I want to leave that area bare, I can leave it there. But I also have my Eucomis right here. This is the Princess Bride. And so I've also known, I think, as pineapple lilies, right? So I've got 3 of them right here. And clearly, we're going into the Holy Grail and the daylilies. So what I easily can do is dig these 3 up and bring them over here and space them in here. Because as you can see, they have really like wide, strappy foliage that stays more kind of predominantly down. And then you get, obviously these are like the end of the blooms, right? And then you get these really kind of upright, very cool blooms. So I can take these 3, put them kind of close together and fill in this hole right here, and all will be well. And then I can just leave this area blank and let the daylilies do their thing over there. So that kind of, like I said, is a little sneak peek into my brain on how everything thinks. So we are racing against some rain clouds because the tropical storm, the hurricane, I don't know if she even made it to a hurricane yet, whatever that thing is, Imogene, I don't know what she's called. She's off the coast of North Carolina, Florida, the East Coast. So she's not going to hit us, so that's fine. But we are going to get some of those outer bands. You can hear Jackson, he's cutting the grass. He's trying to get it cut before the rains come. And I'm trying to finish this before the rains come. So we're going to get some good rain this afternoon. Nothing crazy, nothing horrible, just some good rain. And so we're going to quickly move to the other side, and we're going to work over there. So we're going to move with purpose, my friends. Let's talk house side of the berm, because again, this is an area where I got some really happy plants, my friends. My alarm's going off. I'm not sure who's coming, but anyway, she'll be fine. All right, so a lot of things are going on over here. Again, today we're just focusing on cleanup. We're just making things neat and tidy. Y'all, if you do nothing else in the fall, make things neat and tidy, because one, your garden will thank you. Your perennials and everything will thank you come next season. But also do it for your own mental health. I don't know about you, but like when my garden is messy and disheveled and just not tidy, it makes my brain exhausted, because every time I go by it, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I should do, and then fill in the blank, right? So this berm, this area has been driving me nuts, because every time I drive by it, I'm like, oh gosh, it's not looking great. It's not looking primo. You know, we've got customers coming. I'm embarrassed because this is like a display garden and it's looking rough. I also understand that it's real life, and it shows that, you know, we have real life gardens and everybody deals with this stuff. But for me, mentally, it just is exhausting. So it brings me great joy to come in here and clean up and tidy up my garden. Yes, there are things still to be done. Yes, I need to move perennials. Yes, I need to do all this other stuff. But right now, this makes me feel so accomplished. So whatever that little task is in your garden that's kind of like annoying you and driving you crazy, do it, right? Just take the time, whether it's a 5-minute project or an hour project, just go ahead and get it done. Maybe it's a weed that is growing and it's tall and it's obnoxious, and every time you go by, you're like, oh, I really need to pull that weed. Just go pull the weed. It will make you feel better. So that's what we're focusing on today. Neat and tidy makes us feel better, makes me feel better in my garden. So here we go. All we're gonna do is focus on this little corner right here, on this end of the berm. So this is the house side. We were literally, those are the North Poles. We were literally like right here. Those were the Niagara Falls where the Baptisia were. So we're on the other side. So we're gonna start here and work our way down. All right, this is a pink Cascade 2 Buddleia, butterfly bush from Walter's Gardens. Y'all, I love this thing. She's a beautiful beast, and I mean that in the most positive way possible. But it has these gorgeous, really soft baby doll pink blooms on it, and they are typically just huge. Clearly, we're on the end of a bloom cycle right now. We still have some fresh growth coming out, popping out. It'll depend on the weather, what she does. Now, I'm not really going to do anything to her now. So with your butterfly bushes, your buddleias, you really do not want to prune them like as far as like a hard prune in the fall. Buddleias bloom on new growth, right? So we do want to prune them. However, going into winter is not the time to do it. When you want to prune your butterfly bushes is coming out of winter, going into spring. Ideally, wait until you start to see new growth pop out on the stems. At that point, you can trim them really severe. Like I can trim this butterfly bush by at least half come late winter, early spring. Now, right now, if I wanted to come through and deadhead, absolutely. I'm just saying don't come through and cut the butterfly bush back by half. If you're getting at the very end of your growing season and frost freeze is coming right around the corner. If you still got 2 months left, you probably would be just fine. So what I'm gonna do today is gently prune her, because, again, I got happy shrubs here, y'all. I've got a happy pink Cascade 2, and I have got a very happy pufferfish hydrangea. Y'all, she's only supposed to get like 5 to 6 feet tall, and she's like 7 to 8 feet tall. It's insane. So she clearly loves this spot. My quote problem is that I have got the October Magic Ruby Camellias in here, and they're getting swallowed, especially this one, because these two guys are loving life and are insane. So what I'm going to do is I am going to come through here and gently kind of clean up my pink Cascade 2 so that I can see my camellia. October Magic Ruby, as its name suggests, is a Sasanqua. She blooms in the fall, blooms in October. She's just starting to put on her color. She is covered in buds. So I want to enjoy my camellias. So I am going to clean up the Buddleia. I'm going to clean up my clematis. This is Hudson Bay. It's a beautiful rebloomer. I got it from our friends at Brushwood Nursery. It makes a great ground cover. It's a continuous bloomer, but I'm just gonna kind of come in here and clean it up a little bit, all right? So I've got 3 of them in here, so I can just clean them up. You can see that they are blooming. So I'm not gonna cut off my flowers. I'm going to keep those because how pretty will the blue and the red be together? So what I'm gonna do is also maybe, I don't know, this is the problem, y'all. This is when I get in here and I'm like, what should I do? I'm almost wondering if I think I could make pufferfish over here a standard, at least limb her up some. I may do that, I don't know. Or I may just leave her alone. It's a game time decision. But if you want to like limb up your hydrangeas, you absolutely can so that the plants can grow underneath them, which I think would be really cool because maybe I'll try that. I think maybe I'll try that. Let's try that. Here we go. There we go. That's what we're gonna do. Now, also, I am going to prune my camellias. However, listen to me, people. All I'm gonna do is take off these really long stems because you can see there are no buds on this, right? I have no flower buds on here, so I can prune them back. Now, do I wanna come in here and shear this back? I do not. So, hear me very clearly, my friends. If you want to gently shape your camellias, you can, very, very selectively. Do not come in here and turn them into little balls. Do not do that to any camellia past July because you are cutting off all your flowers. So all I'm gonna do is take those really long stems that have no flower buds on them and I'm gonna bring it back some. That is it. Do not take the hedge trimmers to your camellias past July. If you do that, you're cutting off all your flowers. The time to prune your camellias is coming out of winter going into spring. So for me in North Carolina, a zone 8A, that means like April, May, maybe like into early June, okay? That's all I'm gonna do. And then last but not least, I have a golden Oakland holly that I am just again going to gently shape up the top so that it will keep on filling in, but just a very gentle so it doesn't have so much top growth on it, okay? So again, we're racing the weather, so we're gonna get after it and let's see what happens when I get in here because only time will tell. All right, my friends, so I had some self-control and the the more knowledgeable part of my gardening brain kicked in as far as the puffer fish. Got everything pruned back. It is what it is, y'all. There is grace in gardening. So let's walk through and let me tell you what I'm talking about as far as my gardener brain kicked in here. So with the butterfly bush, yes. Probably, ideally, this camellia should not be here because Pink Cascade, my gosh, she is happy. And I know maybe it looks a little funky right now. Clearly, I cut out like a hole right here. But you know what, y'all? It's okay. The camellia has got tons of buds on it, so I am excited to see her bloom, and I want her to shine. If the camellia wasn't here, then we could just leave this and let it go. Also, another thing that I could do, which is more maintenance on my part, is like next summer, later on in the season, what I could do is go ahead and kind of be gently pruning the butterfly bush so that it stays more compact and it doesn't, you know, grow so fast. So there's options, you know, and then of course, if you can just say, you know what, it is what it is, and it's grace in gardening, and it'll be fine. So that's the deal with that. Now, With the clematis, all I did was literally just kind of clean it up. There was some dead stuff in here, cleaned it up a little bit, did not like shear it back all the way, just tidied it up. Now, it is important for you to know what type of clematis you have, because basically there's 3 types of clematis: type 1, type 2, type 3. The types depend on how they bloom. So believe this is correct. Type 1 blooms only on old growth, so you would not want to prune it. You would prune it after it flowers in the spring. Type 2, I believe, blooms on old and new. So again, you really don't want to prune it until after it flowers. Type 3, which is what I have, blooms exclusively on new growth. So I am fine pruning it. In fact, come late winter, early spring, when it's completely all of the foliage is dead, I will shear it straight back to the ground. So it blooms on new growth, and these guys are continuous bloomers. So that's really fun. If you need clematis, if we all need clematis, right? Go to Brushwood. Brushwood Nursery is online. They're in Georgia. They're a family company. My gosh, they have got so many different kinds of clematis. Beautiful. I think they're like 1 gallon sizes. Great, beautiful, healthy plants. They have great education, so head to Brushwood Nursery for that. Now, the camellias, all I did, you can see, they are not in a tight little ball. They still have quite the free-form look to them. All I did was take off those crazy long shoots. I still have plenty of shoots on here that are that new growth that have no buds, but I left them. All I wanted to do was just take off those crazy outliers that were just going nuts. And so that is what I did. I did not cut anything that has a bud on it. If you see a bud like this beautiful one right here on your camellia, please don't cut it. Let its plant do its thing and be absolutely gorgeous. So those 3, we can now see them and it will be well. Now, as far as pufferfish goes, once I started looking down at the base of the plant, that's when my brain kicked in and was like, Jenny, don't do anything like crazy severe going into winter right now. The time for me to go ahead and clean up all of those low-lying limbs to get it clear underneath so that my camellias can be tucked in there and have lots of light, that's going to be in when I prune it in that late winter going into spring. So for me, that's like mid-February through March. As the season progresses, I will have to come in here and maintain it. Now, what is that going to look like? Well, roughly, it's not going to be the traditional standard form in the fact of it has 1 single leader in it as far as 1 main trunk. Because as you can see when we get down there, I have multiple stems in there at the base. So what I will do though is I will come in here and I will take off like this limb. I'll take it all the way back. This limb right here, I will take it all the way back. These guys, again, all the way back. Anything that's like coming out horizontal here, I will go ahead and take off. So as it is growing, I am training it to be, quote, naked under here, to have naked ankles, and all of that growth, then I want to go up, and then even kind of, you can clean it up in here. So when I do that come late winter, early spring, I will show it to you. And again, you know, it is that as the hydrangea grows and gets all that good top growth, we can clean out underneath it. So then you can tuck, whether it's the low-lying shrubs like these October Magic Rubies, or you can put like even just the clematis under it, your perennials, whatever it is that you want. It just gives you more space in the garden. Now, obviously, you don't have to do this. You could let the hydrangea be in all of her glory from the ground all the way up. It's just, what do you want in your garden? And, you know, it's your garden. You can do what you want to with it, right? That's the beautiful thing. And then, of course, with the Oakland holly, golden Oakland holly, really probably, if you didn't know that I trimmed it, you wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, that just got pruned, right? Again, give it a gentle shape. I didn't prune everything. I left some of the ones that are nice and still going out. But again, every time you prune, then it's going to go ahead and get thick and it's going to sprout more of those beautiful variegated, like, isn't that just lovely? I love this. Golden Oakland hollies, just gorgeous. I would say it's a relatively, I wouldn't say it's a fast grower at all. Maybe a moderate to slow grower, but she's filling in. I thought she would be beautiful because of the North Poles behind her, that beautiful evergreen. I love it. And then of course, the more plants you can put in that are evergreen and give you structure, your songbirds will love it because they have protection in the wintertime from the elements. They can put their nest in there in the spring. Predators, because my gosh, we have got hawks and we've got owls and we've got everything, and they do enjoy those songbirds. So the more protection you can give them with the evergreen, the more birds you're going to have in your garden, and they are going to love it. So that is it, my friends. It is starting to mist, and so the heavier rains, and it's not going to be that heavy, but the rains are coming, and so these are those outer bands that are coming in. So Miss B and I are going to go dump all of our debris in the compost pile, and we're going to call it a day. As always, we hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. If you have, we would love it if you would like and subscribe. That way you don't miss those 5 videos that we do each and every week. Y'all have an amazing day, and we will see y'all in the next video. Bye, friends.